Hello, friends, and welcome back. For those of you who are new, we were reading through All the Pretty Horses by Cormac McCarthy. We're breaking it down by parts, and today is part two. I'm not sure if I'll continue doing part by part for the rest of the trilogy. I've already committed to doing All the Pretty Horses. It was there's not a ton to talk about in these parts. There's things to kind of explore and ponder and things, but as far as story wise, there's not a ton that happens, and that's not I don't mean that as a negative. I just mean I'm not sure that it's the ideal candidate for a part by part feature. But either way, we're doing this, and actually the first part did fairly well as far as listeners. So maybe it's not as bad as I think it might be when I'm just talking off the cuff. So with part two, we do continue. When we do continue with, we're getting closer to last time I mentioned, I like to find out what the title of a book means, if there's a meaning behind it. I think we're getting closer to understanding, with the emphasis on horses and their beauty and their necessity. They're part of the lifeblood of this kind of lifestyle. And when I say lifestyle, it's more than that. It's survival for them, because they need these things to happen. They need horses to deliver. They need horses to perform for them to survive. So it's more than just a lifestyle. It's not like it's a hobby. They need it. And I can see the I don't want to say obsession, but the appreciation for horses and their beauty and their purpose and their importance. So I think that is a great, I'm starting to really like the title. I was wondering what the title meant, but now it's making more and more sense as we're going through the book. And we are also getting, if a lot of stories start off with, somebody traveling and they meet other people in a different, people who are maybe not necessarily wealthy, but someone who has power, and they get involved with these people, and they try to befriend them, and they try to get jobs. They try to prove themselves, and then they end up in the situation where they are pitted in with cultural norms and kind of expectations that they're just not familiar with, and they end up getting themselves in trouble, which kind of sounds like that's what's happening here. It kind of sounds like Alejandra is going to be that kind of problem. It's the kind of the classic, romance, boy meets girl, he gets himself in trouble, possibly gets her in trouble, and he's told, it's harder for her to regain her honor. Don't call her, don't talk to her, don't drag her into your mess, because it's harder for her to recover, and she may never recover. So he was warned, and of course, most stories, I guess we wouldn't have a story if he stayed away. But get the feeling like this is going to lead him down a path that is not good. We can already kind of see that happening, or at least we have hints that that's what's happening towards the end of the part, when the horsemen appear and they come to, escort them away, kind of rifle through their things and take them away. So that seems like that's a setup, although it may be something else. And I'm not sure what else it would be, but I'm sure we're going to find out soon. An interesting thing about McCarthy that I've noticed is that the parts end at a very weird place. Like they don't end, they end in a strange place. It almost seemed, I thought it was a mistake. I thought I hit a button because I was listening to the audiobook to finish off the part, and it went, part 3. And I thought, well, did I hit a button? Like, did I hit fast forward? Because it seems like a really odd place to stop a part. And I don't know if you could call it a chapter, but more of just a part, more of a break. It seems like a really weird place it kind of, throws you off, especially for us, if you're reading along, to kind of stop there and have to wait until the next part. But I don't know if anyone's listening to the audiobook. I've been reading and listening just for convenience sake. I'll read and then I'll listen, vice versa. Sometimes I'll immersive read with the audiobook playing, and the audiobook is really, really good. I wish I'm halfway decent with Spanish. I can understand more than I can speak it, but I sometimes I have to stop and really listen to what they're saying and try to follow along. But I do like that they didn't have a translation. It just adds, I don't want to say authenticity, but it adds the feeling of, they're in this in a different type of place. They go from being in Texas and having, people around them, and they have it makes you feel like you're in around different people, that you're in a strange position, at least for the reader. I mean, I know the characters, you know, may not feel that way, but as a reader, it almost adds a sense of danger or heightened kind of awareness where they are and the position that they're in. It makes you feel like if you're not familiar with Spanish, if you don't know what they're saying, then it also adds to that uncomfortable feeling of what's going to happen next. Can these people be trusted? What are they saying? So, and maybe that wasn't the intention at all, but that's the kind of the response that I had to myself when I was reading and listening. Is it makes you feel like you're in a strange, in a new, different place. So yeah, another thing about McCarthy is when I can listen to the book and I go back and read it. When I'm reading it, there's a very, very different kind of flow to the words. And I talked about this last time, and I've talked about it before when we discussed The Road and Blood Meridian and Child of God. Not so much Child of God, but more so Blood Meridian and The Road. It has a very kind of abrupt feeling to it. Sometimes you're expecting a comma, or you're expecting a period and you don't get it, and it feels like a run-on, but it's not. It's just a different kind of feeling when you read it. And in the book, in my edition anyway, there's no quotation marks. So that also felt weird. It took me a little bit of time to get used to not having quotation marks for what people are saying, and now that I'm used to it, I kind of appreciate it. I don't think The Road had them either, if I'm remembering correctly. I don't know if Blood Meridian did or not. That may just be a McCarthy thing, but I should have looked that up before I recorded this episode. I'll check into that for next time. So yeah, as far as the story goes, it's, they're showing their skills. They're proving themselves that they can rear the horses. They can tame them. They can have them go from wild horses to, to something that can be productive and be used, make themselves useful. So that's kind of the role. And then we transition to Alejandro, and we start learning more about this family and more about the people around it and their history and their values and kind of, what they, where they stand with things. So yeah, that's kind of the chapter. That's kind of the part, but the end of the part really, again, heightens your sense of awareness and what's going to happen next. I'm big on, when I'm reading, I really love quotes. I really love powerful sentences or philosophical things. I think that's why I like The Second Apocalypse so much, is because I love those kind of really powerful lines or passages that just get kind of tattooed on your brain and you can't get rid of them. There's one that I wrote down, and this is on page 119 in my edition. And by the way, my edition, I mentioned in one of my updates that I had the splayed edition with the pages that are kind of like cut off, like splayed, and a hardcover. Those are a pain in the ass to turn the page. It didn't occur to me, but the pages will stick together, and usually you can just kind of flick the pages, and anyway, it's a pain in the ass. So it looks cool, but it's a pain to read. So anyway, one of the quotes that I had was from page 119. It's kind of a long one. I'll just read a section of it. But the fire had burned the coals as he lay looking up at the stars in their places and the hot belt of matter that ran round of the dark vault overhead. And he put his hands on the ground of either side of him and pressed against the earth. And in that coldly burning canopy of black, he slowly turned dead center to the world, all of the taut and trembling and moving, enormous and alive under his hands. I love that. That's just, you read that kind of literature, just the power of words and the power that, how much emotion you can draw out of words, out of a sentence, out of a paragraph, and the way that you can pull emotions off the page like that. It's something else. It's amazing when those things work. It gives me the chills because it's so, it's so, like, it just makes you want to read more. It just kind of like touches you in a certain way. And yeah, it's great. There's a ton of those, environments, especially that he describes just beautifully in a very limited amount of words. He's very skilled, obviously. I mean, he's Cormac McCarthy, but so anyway, That's about it for this episode. I don't know if these are too short. If you are enjoying these, let me know, because I'm not sure if I'm going to continue for the second book or just go to the full book discussion at the end. Let me know if you're reading along, if you're enjoying these. There's a link down below to send me a message directly, or you can join our forums at pagechewing.com. Check out our blogs there, our reviews, and also join the forum. You can send me a DM there. Let me know how you feel about it. If you're reading along, let me know if you're enjoying it. Is it hard to wait? Are you getting tired of waiting for me? Let me know all those things. I'd love to hear from you. So until next time, happy reading, and we will talk part 3 next week. I'll talk to you very soon.